So I'm coming in here when I've already finished editing the video, and I just want to let y'all know that this video was not scripted. What does that mean? Because this video was not scripted, it gets rambly. I get very rambly. I go on some tangents, I go on some rants. So yeah, you see the length. You know that you're in for the long haul, so just letting you all know that yes, this is going to be a rambly video. It was not scripted, so yeah, and you will be hearing a bit of stuttering more than usual. So yeah, just letting y'all know that now. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Alrighty, so obviously I make booktube content, so obviously I also watch booktube videos. And I saw a video like the other day, or a few weeks ago, by Cari Can Read, where she basically ranked all of the popular booktube books that she had personally read, and just went through them and talked about them and stuff like that. And I thought it was a really fun idea, so I wanted to do it myself. Now, before we get into ranking all of these books, I need to explain what is going on here with the tiers, because as you can tell, they all have names. And yes, they're all Sabrina Carpenter themed, because why not? We are in Sabrina summer right now. So we have, for 5-star, at the very top, we have That's That Me Espresso. These are the books that stay with me for a long time. They make me lose sleep thinking about them, they know they got me wrapped around their finger, and they walked into my life and dream came true for me. 4-star, Almost Love, It's Almost Love. These are the books that I really enjoyed, but something was just a little bit off so that I could not rank them 5 stars. There was just a little something off that I had to rank them 4 stars. 3 stars, Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. I tried to really like these books. It didn't exactly work out, but I also don't hate them. They're just kinda here. So yeah, you can't blame a girl for trying to like them. 2 stars, Nonsense. I'll be honest, I didn't enjoy these books at all. Didn't hate them enough to want to throw them across the room 1 stars, but the books here just left me feeling so much lighter like a feather when they were out of my life. 1 star, Bad Time. I'm sorry, but every time I picked up this book, it was probably going to be a bad time. Somehow we made it to the end, I don't know how, probably through sheer force of will, but yeah, and needing to know how much possibly worse it could get in the end. And finally, DNF, Run and Hide. Sabrina may not have wanted to run and hide, but I certainly did while reading these books, so that's exactly what I did. But yeah, that is the tiers explained, so now let's actually get into ranking these books, and if you enjoyed this video, then please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos from me, and thank you! Full warning, by the way, I have talked about quite a few of these books before on my channel, either in a wrap-up or the yearly wrap-up, whatever. So if you've been here for a while, you might recognize quite a few of these, but yeah, some of these I have not talked about on my channel ever, so let's get into it. First up, we have Ace of Spades. Now, this goes into the Run and Hide tier, because, Now, honestly, I really didn't enjoy this book. I got 10 chapters into it, and was like, I can't take it anymore, I need to put it down. No, it's not for me. Because it was just trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. It's like that Jamie Lee Curtis video on Twitter. Trauma, trauma, family trauma, 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 family trauma, trauma, generational trauma. It's just, oh my god. I just realized that I didn't explain what this book is about whatsoever. Okay, Ace of Spades. It's a young adult thriller, and it's about these 2 kids who go to this, elite private school. There's the girl who is, Queen Bee, class president, all that kind of stuff, and the boy who is, poor and all that kind of stuff, just, his family's basically just barely scraping by. They each have some sort of, secret that will have devastating consequences on their life if it ever comes out, and someone starts, texting them threatening messages, being like, I know your secret, I'm gonna tell it to the whole school, your life is gonna be over, da-da-da-da-da-da. So the 2 of them team up to basically find out who this person is that is threatening them and stop them so that their secrets don't get leaked to the entire school. And yeah, like I said, it was just a lot of drama. Like okay, it's a thriller, so you know there's going to be a lot of like, not happy experiences going on. But like in a lot of thrillers, there's always something, there's always like some point of light, some joy in the characters' lives, something to give them, a little bit of happiness. In this book, I could not find any of that. It was just sadness, it was just guilt, it was just rage, it was just everything. Like, stop. So, but yeah, so that's my ID enough to Ace of Spades. Like, if y'all love it, love that for you. It just personally was not for me. Let's go with Happy Place. I'm going to put this... I don't exactly know. I'm recently read this. I'm making an Emily Henry video. So I'm going through and trying to read all of her books. I'm at the whim of my library, so it'll be forever until that video comes out. But, like, I'm trying to read all of Emily Henry's books for a video, so I read Happy Place recently, and honestly, I'm still going back and forth on whether it's, like, a 4-star or a 3-star. It's, like, a 3.5, kind of leaning towards a 3.7, kind of leaning towards a 3.3, depending on the day. Like, so I don't know. I'm gonna put this in a 4-star right now, in Almost Love category. But, yeah, this book is basically just about this woman. She broke up with her fiance a few months ago. Her fiance is included in her friend group, and they haven't told their friends that they broke up yet all these months ago. So now it's time for her and all of her friends to go on this like yearly vacation up in Maine, somewhere where they all like rent a mansion cabin or something. And her ex are like, oh, all of our friends are here, they expect us to be together, to be happy, and we didn't tell them that we broke up like 5 months ago. Okay, this is going to be awkward, and we don't want to spoil the mood, so let's just pretend that we are still engaged, okay? Let's just pretend that we are. And, it's an adult second chance romance mixed with coming of age, contemporary literature. That's kind of what it is. Like, it's equal parts second chance romance and equal part, like, friendship drama and all this kind of stuff as we learn to, like, grow up, still love each other even if our lives are not exactly the same as they were back when we were in college, and our relationship to each other is kind of, going our separate ways, basically. Like, in life paths, but, like, we can still love each other. That's kind of what this book is. It's like equal parts that. It's not a favorite of the year, obviously, but, like, I enjoyed it. I really, really did. It was really... It was fun. I had a pleasant time. There was no point where I was ever like, oh my god, I'm in love. But there was also no point where I was ever like, oh my god, I hate this. Like, it was just a fun, pleasant, enjoyable ride. Like, it was just a vibe, basically. I will say, I did not agree with the main character's decision in the end for what to do with her life in regard to how she was going to pursue rekindling her romance with her ex. Yeah, we'll talk more about that in either a wrap-up at the end of summer or, like, in the dedicated Emily Henry video whenever that comes out, like, in 2020, 32, basically, at this rate. But, like, yeah, I didn't agree with the main lady's decision at the end for what to do with her life in regards to how to pursue her relationship. So, yeah, so there was that, but oh well, I don't have to agree with the character's decisions to like them. Local Woman Missing. Bad time. Hated this book. I really, really did. Oh my god. Okay. How do I describe this? Well, there's a local woman missing. That's kind of the premise. So basically, there was this lady and her daughter who went missing all these years ago. The mother's body was recovered. She was found dead somewhere, but the daughter was never found. Okay, the daughter was never found. She's been missing for however many years, until one day she seemingly pops back up randomly, and yeah. You follow two past timelines. You follow the mother's timeline leading up to her death and the disappearance of her daughter. You follow a neighbor lady's timeline in the immediate aftermath of the murder/kidnapping, and how all the neighbors in the neighborhood were like trying to help investigate, help find someone, bring justice, all that kind of stuff. and you follow present day, the younger brother of the girl who seemingly comes back, who got kidnapped and seemingly comes back, and how him and his dad are trying to, like, adjust to this new normal of this daughter slash sister who seemingly disappeared for so many years has now come back into their life. They're trying to adjust to all that. So you follow 3 different timelines, and, you know, you just go about seeing how the local woman went missing. The plot twist at the ending, when everything started coming out about who killed slash kidnapped the person, and, you know, all that kind of stuff, I lost it. No, I was like, nope, I hate this. This is really bad. This is really dumb. I'm not going to spoil what happened. I think in my 2022 wrap-up I said what happened, so go watch that and hear my full rant about this video. I felt that the twist about who was the killer was homophobic. I don't think that's what the author intended, but, like, to me, it felt homophobic. So it's like, yeah, bye. And also, there were too many red herrings. Everything was a red herring, and there was, like, seemingly no clues that would lead the reader towards what actually happened. The twist came out of nowhere for the sake of twisting. It was like, I hate that. I really, really hate that, because it's like, it made me feel stupid. And now, granted, I never guess the ending of books. Like, I rarely ever guess the ending of books, especially thrillers. But, like, even still, there should be clues in your book to where it's like, oh, when I'm going back and thinking about X, Y, and Z, I can see where the pieces were laid out. Now everything's lining up and making sense. With this book, there was none of that. Everything was a red herring. I hated it. I felt it was cheap. I felt it was lazy. It was stupid. Let's move on. Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This is going in Thus That Me Espresso. This will always have a special place in my heart, okay? This is a young adult fantasy. It is about this girl, Scarlet, who dreams of going to this fantastical magic circus all of her life. It's called Caraval. And she really, really wants to go to Caraval, but she never gets the opportunity to, until one day she gets some tickets in the mail to come and experience the final Caraval ever on the Magic Island where the festival is held. And so her and her sister and the sailor boy that they've met, they all go to the island where Caraval is being held, and it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's all a magical dream come true, you know, everything she could have ever wanted and more, until her sister goes missing. Every single Caraval, there is this massive scavenger hunt where whoever wins the scavenger hunt gets to claim a big giant prize. This year's prize is the girl's sister. So the main girl is like, oh god, okay, I need to win the scavenger hunt, so my sister is, like, not sold off and lost forever, basically. And so that's basically the plot of the story. I love this book. I have not reread it in several years. I read it when it first came out, and then I reread it, like, in 2018. But, like, I was obsessed with Caraval, okay, and I don't care if you like it or hate it, I don't care. Caraval will always hold a special place in my heart, because here's why. Before Caraval, I mainly was reading middle grade and Star Wars books. Like, I was, you know, like, 15, 16, something like that. I was still mainly reading stuff that I knew, stuff that was familiar, so Star Wars in middle grade, stuff that I haven't been reading for years. I was afraid to, like, branch out and, like, look at other books, because, like, oh, what if I don't like it? What if they're boring? Blah, 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 blah. And then I spotted this on the shelf at Walmart and was like, ooh, that's pretty. What's that? And so I started reading it, and I, like, instantly fell in love with it. And Caraval basically gave me the motivation and courage to be like, okay, let's branch out. Let's start reading more fantasy, thriller, romance, blah, 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 blah. Caraval basically opened the floodgates to me becoming the reader that I am today, basically. And that's why it will always hold a very, very, very special place in my heart. Stephanie Garber, you will always be a mother around here. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this. Whenever there's, like, a series of books, I'm not ranking all the books in the series individually. So, like Caraval, there's 3 books in the series, and I'm not going to be ranking every single book individually. I love them all. I love them all. The third one was a little hit or miss, but like I love them all basically. But like just as a rule going forward, whenever there's like a series of books, we are just going to group them all together basically. We're going to have the image of the first book as a placeholder, and we're going to group the series as a whole basically. So for me, Caraval as a series as a whole, that's that me espresso. I think about it all the time. I still love it to this day. And now, since we're here, let's go with Stephanie's other TikTok famous series, the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. As a series as a whole, I'm gonna put it in almost love, because I really enjoyed the first one. I absolutely adored the second one. The Ballad of Never After is like Stephanie's best book to date. The third one was like, fun, pretty gowns, fun, but needed more time in editing. So yeah, so as a whole, I'm going to put the Once Upon a Broken Heart series as like a 4-star read. This series is another YA fantasy series. It is about this girl who recently broke up with a guy that she really, really likes. She's heartbroken, and she basically makes a deal with a devil to basically get over her broken heart and restart her life. So she makes a deal with him, she moves up north, starts a new life, and her life is like instantly transformed to like a perfect fairy tale princess fantasy with like a prince on her arm and moving into a castle and all this kind of stuff, and everything is sunshine and rainbows and whimsy until the demon that demigod demon that she made a deal with comes back to calling to collect on his debt that she owes him. And, stuff spirals out of control from there. That's basically what the series is. I really enjoyed it. The first one is pretty gowns, it's a vibe. The second one is like, oh, this is iconic, this is legendary. The third one, like I said, needed a little bit more work. Fun time, needed a little bit more work. But yeah, 4-star overall. You know what? Let's get it out of the way right now. Colleen Hoover. 1 star. 1 star. I have a video dedicated to both It Ends With Us and Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Long story short, I hated them both. They suck. They absolutely suck in every single way possible. From the plot to the writing to the characters to just everything. Toxic relationships being romanticized. Just everything sucks about these books. It really, really does. Ugly Love, it's for the I Can Fix Him girlies. It's about this woman who moves into her brother's apartment because she's low on money, and she starts hooking up with the neighbor guy, and the neighbor guy is like, hey, just so we're clear, like, we both agree that this is a hookup situation, right? And she's like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine, we can just be friends with benefits. So they do that. She gets really pissy, and it's like, why doesn't he love me? All he wants is my body. Oh my god. Even though that's literally what we agreed to. Oh my god, why doesn't he love me? I'm opening up so much to him. Why doesn't he open up to me? And then by the end, he's like, oh, you know what? I actually really do like her. Like, she fixed me. She saved me. She healed me from the trauma of dating and impregnating my stepsister back in high school. Yeah, that's a thing. Oh my god. And then yeah, they end up together, and it's like, oh, I fixed him, blah blah blah. It Ends With Us. It's a little bit more serious. It's about this lady, Lily Blossom Bloom, who owns a flower shop and loves to garden. Yes, I'm going to say that every single time that I mention this book because it is so unserious. When she gets into this abusive relationship with this guy, and you basically just follow her as she, finds the courage to stand up for herself and leave him and reclaim her power, basically. It Ends With Us. Here's the thing with It Ends With Us. There's a skeleton of a good book here. There really is. I think that there's a skeleton of a good book here. If It Ends With Us was written by literally anyone else on this planet, well, maybe not anyone else, but most anyone else on this planet, it probably would have been a really, really good book. But in the hands of Colleen Hoover, it's not. It sucks. It really, really does. And there's this whole thing about the main character in her high school years, using her diary as writing letters to Ellen DeGeneres, and it's so ridiculous. And personally, if you ask me, no confirmation on this, but in my personal opinion, the only reason I think Colleen Hoover had had Lily write to Ellen DeGeneres as, like, her diary, was to be like, hey guys, look, I'm not homophobic. Like, you can't cancel me. I'm not homophobic. Listen, my main character loves gay people. She loves Ellen DeGeneres, okay? Because in Ugly Love, which came out before this, she has the main character, like, out to dinner with her boyfriend's family or whatever, and her boyfriend's family, for some reason, starts making jokes about him, like, oh, you never have a girlfriend, you never have a girlfriend, you never have a girlfriend, oh, you must be gay, blah, 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 blah. And her main character in Ugly Love hears this and is like, oh, my god, why are they joking about him being gay? That is so gross. Like, oh my god, has he been with men? Has he been with men? Oh my god. Is that like a thing? Like, would he be into that? Oh my god. No, no, no. I need to prove, I really want to scream right now that he's into me. Like, girl, he wants me. Like, I really want to jump up right now and tell them all that he likes me. No, he likes women. Oh my god. He would never. So, so I feel like that's the only reason that the main girly in It Ends With Us loves Ellen DeGeneres, so that Colleen Hoover could be like, hey guys, I'm not homophobic. Please, trust me, bro. Trust me. But, yeah, so there's that. But also, the ending of It Ends With Us sucks. It really, really does suck, because Lily ends up having a kid with her abusive ex. She keeps on good terms with the ex, Ryle, and she even trusts her newborn kid, baby, mind you, newborn baby, alone with Ryle. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know how he treated you. He pushed you down the stairs. He caused you to bleed. He gave you black and blue bruises and all this kind of stuff. And yet you want to trust your baby with him. Alone. Unsupervised. Not even court mandated. Just came to that conclusion of her own free will. And was like, yeah, I trust him with my kid. What? Excuse me? Insane. Insanity, insane. Colleen Hoover, you are deranged for that. You're deranged for that. Is it really a good idea for me to be calling very popular and successful authors deranged on this channel, considering I want to be a traditionally published author, and that's probably not a good look? It's Colleen Hoover, so I think I'm granted immunity on that, because I don't think we should be respecting people who romanticize abusive relationships. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to something that I actually like. Let's talk about The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. 4 stars, it's almost love. Okay, this was like pre-romance era for me. Like, I was just starting to get into romance books, like dedicated romance books. Obviously with Stephanie and like other fantasy books, I had obviously been into like fantasy romance for years, but like as like a standalone romance book, this was like one of the very first romance books that I ever read. And I'll be honest, I'm a Star Wars sequel trilogy fan, so when I heard that this was a published Reylo fanfiction, I was like, oh, that's curious, that's interesting, let's read it. And I was not disappointed. I'm sorry, yes, it's ridiculous, yes, it's unserious. Is it winning any fine literature awards? Absolutely not. But I liked it. Okay, I thought it was fun. Is the sex scene extremely unserious, with him being able to shove her whole titty into his mouth? Absolutely. Unserious, unrealistic. Okay, throat goat king, whatever. But like, it was enjoyable. The whole plot was enjoyable. Their little fake dating romance was cute and adorable. I really liked it. I'm sorry, I did. We love women in STEM over here. I really, really did. Olive, you're an icon. And Ali, you're also an icon. I liked it. Let's do One of Us is Lying. Where do I put this? I'm going to put this in Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. I'm going to put the entire series as a whole in Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. This is a young adult thriller series by Karen M. McManus. It's her breakout shining star in her bibliography, not discography, that's music, bibliography. but it's her shining star. It's kind of hard to describe because all the books are a little bit different. The first book is about these group of teens who they go into detention, one of their classmates dies in detention, and then all four of them are suspected of killing him, especially after it comes out that the kid who died ran a gossip blog and was about to post a bunch of secrets that the other four didn't want anyone to know about because it would ruin their life basically in some way, shape, or form. So the other four are oh, we need to prove our innocence because we didn't kill this guy. We need to prove our innocence. The second book, it's about these new kids on the block, and someone is creating a new copycat game where they kind of want to copy what happened the previous year at school with a murder mystery thing and people and his secrets getting exposed and all this kind of stuff. So our three main characters are oh, we're kind of being targeted with these new secrets in this new game. We need to find out who is behind all this before one of us ends up next dead. And then the third book, it tells us that it's about solving old mysteries of the past once and for all, but really it's kind of just an excuse to have everyone from the previous two books all come together and hang out and be, Avengers Assemble, basically. So that's kind of what the third book is about. The first book, I really, really loved it. I really, really did. It's iconic. It's legendary. I would like to watch the TV show at some point, but I don't have Peacock. Who has Peacock? Nobody has Peacock. That's probably why it got canceled after 2 seasons, because nobody watches that streaming platform anyway. But the first book is iconic. Really, really loved it. The second book, absolute flop, absolute mess. Get out of here. No. The second book, boring, yawning, sloppy, lazy. Ugh, I hated it. Gave it 2 stars. The third book, did it need to exist? Did the third book need to exist? No. But did I like it? Yes, I did. The third book really had no plot, but it had a lot of character work, it had a lot of character interactions, and it had a lot of happy resolutions, which I'm always a fan of. So I really liked the third one, and I really loved the first one. The second one, go to hell. I'm sorry. The second one was a chop for me. The first one and the last one, 4 stars, and then the second one, 2 stars, but yeah, so there's that. Let's do London Calling by Alexis Hall. You probably remember this one from last year if you've been here for a little bit, because I absolutely love the first one. Let's visualize this for a second. The first book, Boyfriend Material, is That's That Me Espresso. The second book, the longer that I think about it, it's a bad time. It's a bad time. I really, really do hate the second book, Husband Material, for a variety of reasons. If you want to know all my reasons, go watch my 2023 wrap-up video where I discuss both of these books. So I think I'm going to balance it out and put this in Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. Just, meet in the middle. Why not? This is an adult romance series where basically these 2 guys get into this fake dating relationship because one of the guys is kind of sort of semi-famous because of his parents, and he's been caught in a compromising position with this whole party boy image that he has built up for himself, and his workplace is okay, girl, get your shit together. Go find someone respectable to date. I don't know. Go do charity work. I don't fucking know. Do something, because our clients know that you work here, and they know your reputation, and they're not really happy with us that you're still here with that kind of messy ass reputation. So girl, get your shit together. And the other guy is needing just a bit of arm candy for some social events coming up, for the season and whatnot, just to be hey guys, stop trying to hook me up with people. I've got a boyfriend and all this kind of stuff. So the 2 of them come together and they start to mutually fake date each other. So yeah, and then fake feelings become real feelings. It's romance, you know how it goes. But yeah, the first book, absolutely loved it. It was amazing. Loved every little bit about it. The second book, unserious. Unserious, hated it, hated everything about it. Third book, that is soon to be released sometime soon. I think the third book comes out next year. I'm kind of scared for it. I am, because it could go one of two ways. Either it could be a we're so back kind of book, or it could be a oh, it's so over kind of book. Like, if the third book is not that good, and there's more books in the series after that, I will be dropping the series. But if the third book is, like, good, and, like, we're back on track, and there are more books in the series after that, I will be continuing on with the series. Also, side note, I read both of these books on audio, and yeah, the audio narrator is like really, really good. He's like one of the best narrators that I've ever heard. I was gonna say seen, but you don't see them, you hear them. But like, yeah, he's like really, really good. I really, really do love the narrator of the series. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Inheritance games. I don't think I've discussed this book, the series, on my channel. Can't blame a girl for trying. I've only read the first book in the series, so I can only judge based on the first book. But so, yeah. This is a YA contemporary mystery book with some slight romance, but it's a mystery primarily. It's basically poor girl wish fulfillment. It's about this girl who wakes up one day and this old billionaire guy in, like, Texas, like, billions upon billions upon billions, he has died. And he's left her with basically everything. Like, 99% of his entire estate and wealth has gone to this random chick that nobody knows. Her and his entire family are like, why did you get everything? Why are you special? Why are you here? And she's like, I don't know, like, I'm just a poor girl. Like, I just got here. Like, I don't know. Like, I just got billions for some reason. I'm happy about it. Like, so her and the grandsons of this billionaire all team up to, like, try and figure out, like, why the heck did this random guy leave this random girl all of his money, basically. And that's kind of what it is. You know, I was satisfied. It wasn't amazing, in my opinion, but it also wasn't terrible, in my opinion. It's, you know, if you love it, you love it. I personally, you know, it was just okay. It was just okay, you know. And I really have never had any inclination to continue with the series. So, yeah, let's discuss the Night Circus. I probably should have discussed this right around the time that I was discussing Caraval, but oh well, here we are. The Night Circus. No. Chop. Get it out. I'm sorry. Okay. First, let me explain why I picked up this book to begin with, and then let me explain what it's about. Why did I pick this book up to begin with? I picked up The Night Circus because in, like, all of the reviews for Caraval, everyone kept saying, if you really love Caraval, if you love Stephanie, if you love her writing, if you love the world, if you love the plot of Caraval, blah, 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 you will love The Night Circus. It is very similar. It's another magic circus that travels around the world and all this kind of stuff. You will love The Night Circus if you love Caraval. They lied. They lied. Those people lied. I hate The Night Circus. It was so boring. Oh my god. But this book is an adult fantasy, historical fantasy, where it's basically about these, like, old magician dudes who run this circus, I think. I don't know if they run the circus. There's a magic circus involved. I don't know how exactly it's involved in the plot. I didn't get that far before I DNF'd it. But there are these two dudes who are like, I hate you, we have a rivalry going on, and they kind of challenge each other to, like, a duel of magic, a duel of death in magic. But they're not going to fight each other. Instead, they're going to adopt these two random orphans off the street and train them up over, like, decades to be, you know, their champions, basically. And so you follow the two kids, now adults, who have been trained their whole lives for this magic duel to the death, and I think along the way, they, like, fall in love, and so it's, like, this like, tragic thing of, like, oh, they've got to fight to kill each other, they don't know that they're the chosen ones who have to kill each other in this magical duel one day, and they're falling in love, and it's gonna be this whole tragic thing, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I think that's basically the gist of it. I've put this book out of my mind, or at least tried to, a lot, over the years since I've DNF'd it. But yeah, I think that's basically the gist of it. It was boring. Boring. Yawning. Sloppy. Lazy. Boring. Oh my god. I was bored. I was falling asleep. No. It was a chop. Oh my god. It was so damn slow. It was so damn slow. Oh my god. It was so sluggish. Oh my god. There was nothing going on. There was nothing happening. Oh my god. Girl, watching paint dry would have been more entertaining than reading this book. I'm sorry. The writing itself is beautiful. The prose, beautiful. Lovely. Painted gorgeous pictures. Those gorgeous pictures did not really contain any substance, in my opinion. I'm sorry. If you love it, you love it. I personally really hated it. I just wanted a fun time. I wanted a fun time with the Magic Circus. I did not get a fun time with the Magic Circus. I really, really didn't. And so for that, I ran and hide. Let's discuss Iron Widow. I am putting this in the nonsense category, okay? I think in my 2023 wrap-up video, I put it more in the Can't Blame Girl for Trying video tier, but I think, honestly, with time, I have to be honest, it's more of a nonsense book, 2-star book. This book is a new adult science fantasy, and it's about this girl who, her sister was sent to the army, she was killed in the army, and so this girl is now going to enlist in the army to kill the guy who killed her sister. Along the way, she is discovered to have, an insanely high midichlorian count, basically, and so she is paired with this other guy in the military who also has an insanely high midichlorian count, and the two of them become, a power couple in the army, first for business, but then in, a romantic sense, also with their best friend. Yes, it's a bisexual throuple. We love that. I would have loved more time with the bisexual throuple. But, basically her and this guy start discovering secrets about the military and the way the government runs, and so they team up to basically, take down the misogynistic hierarchy and structure of the military and all this stuff. And by the end, she goes on her feminist female rampage. I loved the ending of this book. It was absolutely exciting and cool and badass, and I loved the main girly in the end. But, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Me, personally, I didn't really vibe with it most of the time. There were aspects that I loved. Like I said, I really loved the ending. I really loved the bisexual throuple aspect. But, a lot of it, a lot of the plot and parts of the writing fell flat for me. I wasn't really, engaged with it at times. There were moments where I was like, ooh, I'm interested in this. And there were also a lot of times when I was like, oh, this is so sluggish. Not boring, but also I'm kind of rolling my eyes. But, regardless, I do like the author, so obviously no hate to them. But also, B, I will be reading the second book. Why will I be reading the second book if I really didn't like this book? The ending was kind of intriguing. It left me ooh, okay. Interesting cliffhanger. What happens next? But also, 2, the author of this book is a very big supporter of, the liberation of a certain country that is experiencing certain bad things. I cannot say exactly who, what, where, and when, because the last time that I talked about this, YouTube really suppressed my channel as a whole, and, I'm microscopic as it is, so, but, YouTube really suppressed my channel as a whole the last time that I brought up this whole topic, until I deleted that video, and then my channel started returning back to normal, so I can't really, use the correct terms, but, it's the biggest news story since last fall. If you know, you know, and if you are pro the colonizer side, get the fuck out, fuck you, burn in hell, you're going to burn in hell just like they are. But, yeah, the author of this book is very much pro the liberation of a certain country, and because of that, the publisher of this second book in this series has been very much basically holding the book hostage, and gatekeeping it, as a way to, punish the author for having their views. And, they've talked about this on Twitter with, their publisher, you know, like not really returning things in a timely manner, not getting back to them, not really responding to emails, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, withholding edits of the book, all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, so there's that. So because of that, I will be supporting the author with the release of the next book in this series in whatever way I can. I probably won't purchase it because that money, you know, goes to the publisher, obviously, and I don't really want to give the publisher money. But like, I will be reading the second book in this series, probably through my library or like, you know, through audio streaming or something. You know, just like support the author, support their work, and yeah. Next, let's go back to books that I absolutely adore with the Ember and the Ashes series. That's that me espresso, honey. That's that me espresso. This entire series, 5 out of 5 stars. Front to back, you have heard me talk about this series before. You have heard me talk about this series for the last 2 years, because that's how long I've been reading it, because girl, these books are thick. They really, really are. But like, I love this series. I love this series. It is a masterpiece in every single way possible, from the characters, to the world building, to the writing, to the lore, to the plot, to everything. The Ember and the Ashes series, all 4 books are incredibly well crafted. They are incredibly well crafted. I love them so much. This is a young adult fantasy. It is about this girl who, her brother is taken prisoner by the Empire that oppresses and enslaves her people. She ends up joining the rebellion on the promises that the rebels will be able to help her break her brother out of prison in exchange for her going and spying on the evil academy where the Empire trains all of their new assassins, basically. So she's going to be a spy. It's about this other guy who was born into the Empire's elite stuff, and he's been training at the Assassin Academy all of his life, but he's always felt like, I really don't want to do this, this isn't right, what the Empire's doing is not right, I don't want to be this assassin guy, I want to be my own person and live how I want, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, the two of them meet, the two of them come together, they, you know, help each other, both in their quest and in their arcs, and then, you know, we go from there for another 3 books about, you know, with betrayals and all this kind of stuff in Revelations, and, you know, like in a dark entity from the beginning of time wanting to destroy all of humanity in the end. So, yeah, you know, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm like Camila Cabello right now. So, yeah, and I'm extremely excited to read the spin-off series that takes place in like 20 years in the future, that is releasing this year. I'm so excited to read Air. Oh my god, I absolutely love this series. I am so excited to be back in this world with the release of Air coming later this year. Saba Tahir, you are a mother to me. You really, really are. You are fantastic. Next, let's tackle the Grishaverse. Okay. First up, Shadow and Bone, That's That Me Espresso. I love this series. Okay, I watched the Netflix series in like 2021 whenever it came out. Yeah, I watched the Netflix series in 2021, and I was like, ooh, this is interesting, this is cool, I kind of want to read this. So I read the first book in the Shadow and Bone series, loved it, I really, really did, and then I fell in love with the other 2 books. Yeah, if I had to rank them, I would probably say the third and final one is 5 stars, and then the first one and the second one are both 4 stars. I like the first one better than the second one, but, you know, I love them all. I love all these books. It's a YA fantasy series about this girl who discovers that she has magic light powers that nobody else in all of time has ever possessed. Like, she has the power to summon the sun and all this kind of stuff. And she discovers that she's basically the chosen one who will fight this darkness, this like wall of impenetrable darkness that divides her country, and, you know, banish the monsters that live inside this dark dimension, basically, and basically, like, you know, defeat their overlord master one day in this like epic duel to the death, basically. That's basically what the series is about. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, the show is a mess. The show is admittedly a mess because they try to combine too many things, but I also really do enjoy the show, yes, including Season 2, and yes, including the ending of Season 2. I love the ending of Season 2, and I would have loved to see where they would have gone in Season 3. But Netflix is a bitch. Netflix is a bitch because they didn't renew it, and I'm still angry about that because there were so many cool plot lines set up that would never be able to be possible in the book for 4 billion reasons. Anyway, I love the Shadow and Bone trilogy. Spoiler alert, I love it more than the Six of Crows duology. Oops. Oops, I shouldn't say that, because that's a deadly sin on BookTube and BookTok. Whoops, sorry. I will say, the Six of Crows duology is better written, but the Shadow and Bone trilogy is also pretty well written. I will say that. Like, I don't really understand people who are like, oh my god, this series is so bad. Oh my god, Six of Crows is so much better. The Shadow and Bone is so horrible. It's so terribly written. Like, no, it's really not. It's really not horribly written. Like, were we reading the same book? Did we get different copies? Did we get different editions? Because it's like, what are y'all saying that this series is just so terribly written and all this kind of stuff? Because, no, I disagree. Anyway, let's move on to Six of Crows, the other Grisha-verse series. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I'm gonna give it 4 stars overall. The Six of Crows duology is basically about this group of misfits, these like 6 group of misfits who are all come together because they are hired to break into the most top security prison in the world to, like, you know, break this, like, highly intelligent, highly dangerous captive prisoners out, and yeah, that's, you know, pull off the heist of the century, basically. These 6 kids are hired to pull off the heist of the century, basically. The first book, for the most part, gets a 3 or 2 star, because it's like, okay. Like, I was bored for the most part. I was kind of annoyed for the most part, especially with Mateus. I hated Mateus. I don't care. Sue me, I hated Mateus. But the last third, well, the last like 40% of the first book, when they actually get to doing the heist, which is the point of the book, when they actually get to doing the heist, it gets really good at that point. I was hooked. I was immediately hooked when they started doing the heist. And I really, really, really loved it. The second book, which I just recently finished, I loved it. It was so good. I gave the second book, Crooked Kingdom, 5 stars. Admittedly, it did put me into kind of a reading slump at one point, but oh well, we got over it. And yeah, I really, really loved it. I really, really loved the second book. I thought it was so much better than the first one. And everyone got the ending that they deserved. They did. They did. They did. I'll discuss more on that in my summer wrap-up when, you know, we get to the end of summer. So look out for that video. We will discuss Crooked Kingdom more in my summer wrap-up video in, like, September. So yeah. But, like, yeah. So overall, the Six of Crows duology, gave it a 4 star. Next, let's discuss the Deathcast series. Now, admittedly, I did break my rule and broke these books up into 2. But, oh well, this is a special circumstance, because the first one, 5 stars, that's that me espresso, loved it, it made me cry. The second book, Run and Hide, sorry. Alright, let's get into it. The first book in the Deathcast series, they both die at the end, which was supposed to be a standalone, but then it, like, got really popular on BookTok, and, like, the money was rolling in, so I think the publisher was like, hey, you want a lot of money? Let's write a prequel. And I think that's what happened. Again, don't come for me. That's just my opinion. I don't know for sure. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, the first book in the series, they both die at the end. Loved it. It was so amazing. It takes place in this world where, like, the government knows when you're gonna die. When, on the exact day that you're gonna die, the government basically calls you up and it's like, hey, bestie, you're gonna be killed off today. You're gonna die. Something's gonna happen to you. Rest in peace. You were a valuable citizen. Okay, thanks, bye. So it's about these 2 boys who meet each other, and they find out that they are going to both die on the same day. So they are like, you know what? We ain't got much to lose, so let's just hang out. Let's just, you know, spend our last few hours together. And over the course of one day, they become really, really close, and yeah, fall in insta-love. Yes, it's insta-love, but it works for this book, and I really thought it was very, very beautiful. And just the way that, like, this book talks about grief, you know, grieving someone who is still alive, and that person knowing that they're gonna die, and imagining how their death is going to cause and affect the people in their life so much. It was all very, very beautiful. It was all really well done. It was well written. I loved the characters. I loved their dynamic. I loved their relationship. I just really loved everything about this book. It was so beautiful. And yeah, they both die at the end is an espresso for me. Now, the prequel book, the first to die at the end, can't say the same. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My biggest problem with the prequel book, the first to die at the end, is that it's just a carbon copy of the first one. It's basically a near carbon copy of the first one. It's about these two boys, they meet up, one of them will die, one of them will live on, and yeah, they have one day together, they spend one day together, they fall in insta-love, and that's basically it. One of them dies, one of them lives on. It was just so samey. It was just a repeat of the first one. And I love the first one, but I don't like repeats. I don't like rehashes. I don't like that sort of thing. The prequel book really could have worked for me if it had just done literally anything else. Literally anything else in its dynamic to differentiate itself hard from the first book. Because just having one of them live at the end, that's not enough for me to differentiate it from the first one and not call it a carbon copy. If it had just been like something like friends to lovers, exes to lovers, enemies to lovers, something. Have one of them be a girl, have both of them be girls, let it be sapphic. If you really want to keep it to just, you know, two boys falling in love, have one of them be trans. Just do something different. Do something different than just a couple of cis boy strangers who come together and instant fall in love. Oh my god, it was just so samey, and it frustrated me. And I was like, nope, we are DNFing it. We are running away and hiding from it. Okay, nope. Like, just do something different. Have a different dynamic, and I would have really liked it. Next, let's talk about Blackout by a collection of authors. And I'm going to put this probably in Can't Blame a Girl for Trying, because here's the thing. I really loved the first book. I really, really did. It's like 4 or 5 stars for me. But the second book, like 2 or 1 star. So, yeah. The second book, I didn't really like most of the couples. I really didn't, especially the main couple that it was focused on. Ugh. And I'm getting ahead of myself. These 2 books, Blackout and Whiteout, are both a collection of short story romances about black teenagers. In the first book of this YA series, there is a massive power outage in New York City, and we basically follow these different couples as they, you know, fall in love during, or at least fall into attraction during the course of the blackout of, you know, New York City. And all this kind of stuff, like, you know, friends coming together, strangers coming together, exes coming together, all this kind of stuff. I really loved the first one. It was so good. It was so well written. It was so amazing. The second book, Whiteout, it takes place during a snowstorm in Atlanta. You know, it's this massive snowstorm, and there's this all this kind of stuff. And, you know, again, you know, people coming together to find love during a time of crisis, basically. So, yeah, that's basically what this is about, and the second one I found frustrating. I found it not boring, but just frustrating. I was frustrated with a lot of the couples. In Blackout, I loved every single couple. I was rooting for every single couple. I really, really loved all of the short stories. In Whiteout, there was only like 1, maybe 2 couples that I was actually rooting for, and the rest of them, I was just like, y'all should not be together. I'm sorry, y'all should not be together for one reason or another. Break up. Break up! You haven't even gotten together yet, but break up! So, yeah, so because I really, really liked the first book, but I really didn't like the second book, I'm going to put this in the 3-star category to, you know, balance it out. So, yeah, there's that. Let's talk about Red Queen. I want to complain and bitch and whine some more. Let's talk about Red Queen by Miss Victoria Aveyard. Red Queen It's this YA fantasy dystopia book where a society is divided into red bloods, common people with no magical powers and whatnot. They're the labor force. And people with silver blood who have magical powers. They are the elite. They run the government, all this kind of stuff. They run the monarchy, blah, 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 blah. And the main girl, by chance, stumbles into the court system stuff, and it's discovered that she has magical abilities even though her blood is red. Like even though she's not a silver blood, she still has magic. So the government takes her hostage and wants to look her over and see what she's all about, and, discover how a red blood can possibly possess any magic, and, basically try and control the narrative around her and stop her from becoming a symbol of growing rebellion in the society. That's basically what the series is about. If you can't tell, it came out around the YA dystopia craze. Red Queen, for me, is basically take every single tired, worn-out trope and cliche from both young adult, fantasy, and dystopia, combine it all together, and you get this book. You get this book. You get the rebellion. You get the chosen one. You get I'm not like other girls. You get the love triangle. You get the love triangle between brothers. You get the love triangle between princes. Hot princes, mind you. And it's like, oh my god, enough! Enough! You get the best friend who is, kinda into her. And it's like, enough! Oh my god, enough! You get the girl becoming a symbol of rebellion. Oh my god. When she just stumbled into it and doesn't really know what she's doing, but now she's a symbol of rebellion, and everyone's looking to her to lead them to a new and free country. And it's like, oh my god. Boring! Boring. I am tired. Stop it. Enough. Oh my god. Yeah, this book really frustrated me. I really did not enjoy it. And I really did hate every single person in this book. Every single person in this book was annoying. Especially the main character. I really did hate Mayor Burrow, or whatever her last name is. Mayor, go to hell. Oh my god. It's really bad when my favorite part of your book is the evil tyrannical queen using her magical abilities to, repeatedly slam your main character against a wall and basically crush her skull. And ooh, Victoria Aveyard broke out the karma, apparently. Oh, shit. Oh, she's coming for me. I'm sorry, Victoria. I won't drag you anymore. That's a lie, I will. I've heard that Red Queen, as terrible as it is, as one-star worthy as it is from me, is by far the best book in the series. And there's 4 of them. And I've heard from fans of the series that it gets worse and worse with every single book, until the last book is basically just kind of unreadable. And it's like, oh, interesting. So, yeah, I hated Red Queen. I really didn't like it. Why? This is getting an adaptation before An Ember in the Ashes, or Caraval, or, a bunch of other books? Why? Who is in charge at Hollywood to determine which books get adapted into, major, big-budget series and movies and whatever, and which ones aren't? Because I'm sorry, who in Hollywood read Red Queen and was like, this needs to be on the big screen. The people need to see this. Girl, go adapt Ember in the Ashes. Oh my god. Ugh. Anyway, let's discuss a dystopian series that had good adaptations. Let's discuss Hunger Games. I freaking love Hunger Games. That is the original espresso. Hunger Games is not just the espresso for me. It's the whole damn coffee industry, okay? It's the coffee bean. It's the original coffee bean from the very first coffee plant, basically. I love Hunger Games. I have not seen Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes because I couldn't go see it in the theaters, and it's not streaming anywhere that I actually watch. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to watch the Battle of Songbirds that takes the movies, but I'm sure it's really, really good. I have no doubt that it's really, really good, especially because it has Rachel Zegler, which is an icon. She's an icon. But, Hunger Games! Do I really need to explain what this is about? YA dystopia. I volunteer as tribute. I won the Hunger Games. I survived. And now I led a rebellion. Okay? There. That's what Hunger Games is about. I freaking love this series so damn much. I went through an entire phase where this series was my personality. When I was like 15, 16, 17, something like that, this series was my entire personality. I'm talking the books, I'm talking the movies, I'm talking merch, I'm talking jewelry, and, shirts and all this kind of stuff. I convinced my mother to drive us across state lines so that I could attend the traveling Hunger Games museum that was multiple states away from us. Granted, she took me originally to go see Sabrina Carpenter in concert. That was the original reason for the trip. But, still, I convinced her to be like, hey, let's extend this vacation for another week and go see the Hunger Games museum. Okay? That is how big of a Hunger Games fan that I was and am. Now, having said that, did I like The Battle of Songbirds and Snakes, the book? It was alright. It wasn't my favorite in the series, but oh well, it was enjoyable. I really especially loved the third act in that book. It was really, really good. So yeah, and I'm super, super, super excited to read the new book that we are getting about Haymitch, especially with what Suzanne Collins said was her inspiration. She kind of alluded to her inspiration. I was like, ooh, you're publishing that book at this time with these kind of politics in the world. Mother's coming to serve. She's not gonna let us down. Now, since we are here discussing Hunger Games, and I don't know when, if ever, this book will ever come up on my channel again, let me give you a quick ranking of the books in my opinion. The books, my favorite would probably have to be Catching Fire, then The Hunger Games, and then Mockingjay. That's how I would rank the books. As for the movies, I would probably rank them Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, Mockingjay Part 2, and then Catching Fire. I'm sorry, unpopular opinion. I'm sorry. Catching Fire is not my favorite movie. It's actually my least favorite movie. I'm sorry, the book is so much better than the movie. I'm sorry, it is. Except, I will say, the wedding dress transformation into the Mockingjay dress, that will always be iconic. That will always probably be the best thing in the entire series. One of the best things in the entire series. Oh, wow, the fashion gay loving the fashion moment in this series. Wow, groundbreaking. Florals for spring, wow. And also, by the way, Mockingjay Part 1 is not boring. It is not boring. You have to have a certain exquisite taste for it. And all of you that say Mockingjay Part 1 is boring apparently do not have exquisite taste like I do. So, there's that. Anyway, I love Hunger Games. I absolutely love Hunger Games. I'm so excited for the newest book and movie coming out. But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Nonsense. This adult thriller is about this woman who sees her teenage son kill someone. He kills someone in their front lawn, and then she's like, of course she's gagged. She's like, oh my god, what the hell? Why did my son kill someone? Oh my god. So this woman starts waking up in the past day by day, then week by week, then month by month, then year by year, then blah, blah, blah. She starts waking up in the past, and she has to, investigate, okay, what events led to my son killing this seemingly stranger? What led to my son killing this random person? So, she's going back in time, waking up every single day until she eventually gets to, the root cause of everything and puts the pieces together of what eventually, dominoed affected into her son killing someone and becoming a murderer. That's basically what this book is about. Interesting concept. I was like, ooh, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm interested. Yeah, no, I didn't like it. I did not like it. I found the main character very, very Annoying. Annoying. She was very, very annoying. And so were her conspiracy theories. Her conspiracy theories were given very much Fox News. Like, she was like, oh, was it the violent video games? Oh my god. Was it because I'm a working woman and I wasn't a stay-at-home mom? Like maybe I should have been. Oh my god. Like, it was very much like, ma'am, stop. You're not making any sense. And then, what actually ended up being the case, I'm not going to spoil it. Maybe I spoiled it in my 2022 wrap-up video. I don't know. But, like, I'm not going to spoil it here. But, like, everything that came out in the end, and, like, all the pieces started coming together, the picture was not making sense. It was not making sense. Not from a, I don't see how this is following the logic of the books kind of sense, but just from a, this is stupid kind of sense. Like, it was! The full thing of, like, what happened that led up to her son becoming a murderer, this whole grand scheme, basically, it was so dumb. I really didn't like it. And also, ACAB, so fuck her husband. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, okay. But, yeah, no. Chop, next, thank you, next. Since we're talking about domestic thrillers that I didn't like, let's talk about The Perfect Marriage by Miss Geneva Rose. Hated it. Oh my god, I hated it so much. Hated it. Oh my god, it was so bad. Oh my god, it was so bad. Ooh, am I going to have to delete this video when I become a published author? Because I'm, like, really being dramatic and dragging a lot of people. Ooh, I'm dragging a lot of popular authors today. Ooh, this is really a good idea for me to make this video when I want to become a published author. Ooh. We might have to delete this video in the future. Like, we will cross that road when we get there. Anyway, The Perfect Marriage. This is about this married couple. The husband has been cheating on his wife, and then the mistress ends up dead. He's the prime suspect, and the wife is like, you know what, you're my husband, so I'm a lawyer, and I will take on your case. I'm the best option you got at getting you off free, basically. Yeah, that's basically the hook of the book. And the hook of the book, it got me. I was like, ooh. Lawyer wife defending her cheating husband for murder when she could easily let him be sentenced to whatever. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm curious. Yeah, no. Well, no. At least on the bright side it was free, so that's all I can really say. At least it was free. The writing, chop. The plot, chop. The character, chop. All of it. Chop. Chop it up. Chop it up like sushi. Chop it up. Get it out of my face. Shoo. Oh my god, it was so bad. And then, oh my god. I can't talk about the ending without spoiling it, so yeah, I'm gonna spoil the ending. The lawyer wife framed him for the murder because he knew that he was cheating on her, so she killed the mistress, framed him, got him the death penalty, and then basically went and lived her life. So on paper, it was gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss, go off queen, love that for you. But in execution, it was, oh my god, shut up, this is so boring. Oh my god, this is just annoying me. Especially at the end, when she was, like, giving her whole soliloquy or whatever about like, I planned this from the start. I did this, and that, and this, and the third. I really hate it when we have those in books or movies or whatever. I really do hate those moments because it's so cringy. And I know that's ironic coming from me because my whole brand is cringe. Like, you know, but still, it's so cringy to me when just a character is like, I knew everything. I predicted exactly how this was going to fall and do all this. The only time that I've ever liked a character who does that is Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars. But yeah, every other time that a character is like so egotistical and like, I knew this and that and I planned all this, and it's boring, hated, arrogant, yawning. Ugh. Anyway, next, a good girl's guide to murder. Finally got it. That's That Me Espresso. I loved it. I love it. I am excited for the new show coming to Netflix with, you know, the blonde girl from Wednesday. The show on Netflix looks like it's going to be a mess, but like I don't care. I love the series, so I will be supporting. I will be watching. I hope it gets 3 seasons because, you know, I want all 3 books to be adapted. But like I love A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. The first one is iconic. The second one is definitely the worst. But like when all of the books get 5 stars from me, like what really is the worst? Like does the worst have definition at that point? You know. And then the third one, it's camp. The third one is camp. I'm sorry, it's camp to me. I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. It's like Go Off Queen. But like, okay, so A Good Girl Guide to Murder, YA mystery thriller. It's about this girl who, for her senior class capstone project, don't ask me what a capstone project is, I don't know, but like for her senior class project, she decides to investigate what really happened in this murder that has been a closed case for 5 years. It has been ruled a certain way of like, this is the murderer, this is what happened, but this main girl has always felt like, you know what, that's not really making much sense. The official reason is not making much sense into the murder of this case, so you know what, I'm going to investigate it for my senior class project and dig in and find out what really happened, get to the bottom and the truth of this murder case. And that's basically what happens. And I really love it. I really love this series. It is so good. It is so well written. The plot, the characters, it is so well paced too. Oh my god. It's kind of a masterclass in, you know, pacing thrillers, or at least YA thrillers in my opinion. Like, I really love it. Next, let's discuss The Cruel Prince. You know what? I was going to give it Almost Love. I have to be fair and give it Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. Here's why I have to be fair. Because I have the same ratings for the number of books in the series that I do as One of Us is Lying. Okay, just a little bit in different order. One of Us is Lying, I gave the first book like 4 or 5 stars, the second book 2 stars, and then the third book like 4 stars. The Cruel Prince series, I gave the first one 2 stars, and then I gave the second and third book 4 stars each. So, yeah, so I have to be fair, like, if I put One of Us is Lying in 3 stars category, I have to put The Cruel Prince in 3 stars category too, because I basically gave the series the same ratings. You know, I have to be fair. Anyway, Cruel Prince, what is this about? It is a YA fantasy series. Yes, I read a lot of YA, clearly I do. But it is this YA fantasy series. It is about this mortal girl named Jude who lives in, you know, this fairy magical kingdom with like all of the fae and stuff. And she, you know, is trying to like fit in. She's trying to like find her place in this society, in this world. And she ends up becoming like a spy for the Crown Prince, who ends up getting like assassinated or whatever. And then she has to, like, you know, use her spy skills to, like, enact justice and keep the murderer of the Crown Prince from ascending to the throne. And she, like, schemes her way into getting the throne for herself, basically. And, you know, all this kind of stuff. That's kind of the gist of the first book, and, you know, kind of setting up what the second and third books are about. But like I said, the first book, boring. I hated it. I really hated it. The first 60% of this book, I really did not like. I thought I was going to DNF it, but something in me kept saying, keep going. Something in me told me to keep going. And I'm glad that I listened to it, because once the Crown Prince gets assassinated and the coup happens, the last 40% was like, oh, okay, I'm here for it. I'm really here for it. And then I wanted to continue the rest of the series, and the second book and the third book I really loved. Why BookTok doesn't hype up this series as a whole, I will never know, because the second and third books, especially the second book is the best in the series, but the second and third books are so much better than the first book. They really are. Oh my god, they are so much better. I really enjoyed the second and third books in the series. Now, since we're here, let's now include the Stolen Heir duology, which is like the spin-off series. Yeah, like a 3 or 2 stars. It's not as good as the original series. The first book in the Stolen Heir is nice. It's nice. The Second book, absolutely a mess. It's a mess. I discussed the Stolen Heir books in my last 2 wrap-ups earlier this year, so go watch those if you want my full thoughts on those. But yeah, not really as good as the Folk of the Air series. So yeah, oh well. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Legends and Lattes. I have a full video discussing this book, so if you want my full thoughts, go watch that video from earlier this year. But it's basically this adult fantasy where this ogre bounty hunter lady is tired of being a bounty hunter, she is tired of being a mercenary, and she has saved up enough money to pursue her dreams of running a coffee shop. You basically just follow her as, a new small business owner and her rising her way to the top and, succeeding as a coffee shop owner. That's basically what it is. It's cute, it's simple, it's fun, and I like the sapphic romance element. I would highly recommend this to anyone who wants to get into fantasy but doesn't really know where to start, and these big, grand, iconic, legendary fantasy books that are have 12 books in the series and all that kind of stuff. They kind of scare new fantasy readers. So if you're in that kind of position, you want to dip your toes into fantasy to see if you like it or not, but you don't really know where to begin, I would recommend this book to you. I really would. The setting is very much traditionally fantasy. It's traditional medieval Dungeons and Dragons fantasy, but it's very accessible. The language is very accessible. The plot is simple. The characters are likable. It's as the tagline of the book says, it's high fantasy, low stakes, basically. It's just chill, it's just a vibe, it's just go with the flow. It's simple, it's cute, it's simple, it's cute, it's simple. So I really would recommend this hardcore to anyone who is new to fantasy, who wants to get into fantasy. So yeah. Next, let's discuss some literature. I'm feeling in a literature mood. Let's discuss Babel by R.F. Kuang. Now, 5 stars, that's me espresso. I loved Babel. Babel opinions are really all over the board. And yeah, but I'm one of the people who really loved Babel. It is an adult historical fantasy about this Chinese boy who, after his mother dies, he is taken from his homeland of China over to England to study language and, study multiple different languages, to one day be accepted into Oxford University as part of their Babel language program. And he discovers that his knowledge of language is being used by the British Empire to not only, empower basically all the luxuries of England and all the stuff, because in this world, language has magical properties, but the magic of translation is also being used to colonize and harm the rest of the empire. It's being used to, expand the British Empire and all this kind of stuff, harm people, especially in China, just like himself, and, all this kind of stuff. And so he ultimately has to come to a crossroads and decide, okay, is it better to continue to live in luxury and keep myself safe while knowing that the work that I'm doing with language and translation is being used to harm and pillage and colonize my people and other people around the world? Or should I sacrifice my luxuries and mark myself as a criminal in the eyes of the empire to take a stand and say that no, this is wrong, the magic that we are performing, the colonization, all of this stuff, it is wrong, we need to, the British needs to stop it, Britain needs to stop it, basically. I really love Babel. I know some people have their issues with it, and the issues that I've heard people say with it, they are very valid. So I'm not going to be like, no, you're wrong, or whatever. No, the issues that the people have with it, they are valid. They, make a lot of sense. Personally, for me, I really loved it. So yeah, I thought the writing was extremely beautiful. I thought the magic system and the lore was very unique. I've never heard of translation being, used as magic and how to build a society. So I thought that was very unique, and I really did love the different characters and following their arcs, even the tragic ones. So yeah, I really loved it, and I want to read more of R.F. Kuang's books, especially her fantasy one. I forget what it's called. It has like a dragon on the cover. I forget what it's called. I'll put it on the screen if I find it. And also Yellowface. I want to read those two books. So those books. So yeah, I really would like to read more R.F. Kuang at some point. I need to make time to do that. I need to make time to read more R.F. Kuang because I really loved Babel, and I really loved R.F. Kuang's writing style in this book. So yeah, I really loved it. Next up is In 5 Years. This is an adult contemporary about this woman who randomly one night, she is transported 5 years into the future, and she experiences a snapshot of her life and what her life is at that point. And then she is transported back to present time, and for the next 5 years, she is thinking about that night, thinking about her experience, trying to figure out how she went from point A to point B, because the snapshot of her life in the future was seemingly extremely different than the life she currently lives. So she's going through the next 5 years like, how do I get there? I'm scared, but I'm also interested, but I'm also like, I don't really want my life to change, but I also want to see how that happens, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of basically what this book is. And it has, some discussions about, like, how much control over our lives do we have? Do we really have free will? Is everything predetermined? All this kind of stuff. And if you got a snapshot of your life, how accurate of, would that be of your life as a whole? This one night that you see in the future, is that really representative of what your future will be like? Or are you just misinterpreting things and your life could go in a completely different direction than what you saw? And all this kind of stuff. Don't know. But I enjoyed this book. It's not a book that I regularly think about. It's a book that when I see it, I recognize it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I like that book. So yeah, so I kind of put it in Can't Blame a Girl for Trying tier because, like, I liked it, but it's not something that I actively remember or think about. So yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It was fun. It was cute. Next, let's discuss Cinderella is Dead. I'm going to put this in 4 stars. It's basically Black Cinderella meets Merida, and they team up to take down the patriarchy. That's basically what this book is. This is a YA fantasy about this girl. She lives generations after the story of Cinderella. The story of Cinderella with her going to the ball and the glass slipper and, finding the prince and all this kind of stuff. That story has been used to, like, shape society into a very misogynistic, patriarchal society. Girls are seen as, like, desirable at the ball, and if they're not picked at the ball, they're basically hags, and they're basically worthless, and then they disappear. And nobody knows what happens to the girls that don't get picked up by a suitor at the ball, basically. So this one girl is like, oh my god, I hate the idea of the ball, I don't like it, the idea of marrying a man abhors me because I do not like men at all. I really don't. Oh my god. She finds the granddaughter of one of Cinderella's stepsisters, and the two of them team up to take down the patriarchy and, take down the kingdom and, go on this, like, girl boss feminist rampage. And we love that for them. I really love this book. It is cute. It is fun. It's sapphic. It's simple. It's fun. I like the messaging. I really do. I like the messaging. I like the writing. I like the characters. I just, I like the world. I really do like the plot of this book. It's so fun. It's really fun. Next is Legendborn. Now, I have not read the other 2 books in this. Well, of course I haven't read the 3rd book in the series because I don't think it's out yet. I've not read the 2nd book in the series. I've only read the 1st book in the series. So it is a YA contemporary fantasy about this girl who gets sent away to college a few years before she's supposed to go. She's like 16, but she's in college for this special program. But, like, she finds out one night when she's at college that she can see demons. She has, like, foresight of demons, basically. And so she's like, oh my god, demons are here. You know, like, how the hell is nobody else seeing all these demons and shit? Oh, wait. There's some weirdos over there. There's some, like, magic wizard Merlin weirdos over there. They can see the demons. They're fighting the demons. Why are none of the rest of you see these like wizardy people fighting the demons? Okay, just me? Okay, cool. Am I going crazy? Oh, no, I'm not going crazy. That's really happening. But the main girl is able to see these demons, and she gets inducted into this, like, Illuminati-esque, this, like, King Arthur order of wizards, basically. And she initially believes that this order had something to do with the death of her mother, so she is like, I'm going to invade, I'm going to infiltrate and be an imposter among them so that I can, you know, discover the truth about my mother and who really here killed my mother, basically. And so that's basically the premise of the book. I really enjoyed Legendborn. It's fun. All of the, like, King Arthur stuff with, like, the hierarchy and, like, you know, the pages over the knight, over the wizard, over all that kind of stuff. The hierarchy of, you know, who's in charge of who and basically all that, it confused me, but, like, you know, I kind of expected it to because I'm not really into King Arthur stuff. I'm not really into medieval stuff, so I don't really know anything about all that stuff, so, oh well. And a lot of the side characters did feel not distinguishable, I will say that. So, yeah, there's that. Overall, the plot was fun, the mess was messy. You know, I really did like a lot of what this book did with, like, you know, the relationships and the friendship and all this kind of stuff, and the main girl discovering more about her magic and about her history and all this kind of stuff, and the love triangle. I freaking love the love triangle, and I have no idea who she will pick. But I mentioned this in my wrap-up video earlier this year where I talked about this book. But, like, I love the love triangle simply because I don't know who she's gonna pick. Like, I don't. With other books, you know who the girl's gonna pick. You know which boy she's gonna pick. In this book, by the end of it, I have no idea which one she's gonna pick. I really don't, and I love that. I love that. It's like, ooh, messy. All right, we have gotten to the holy trinity of gays here. Basically, full spoiler alert, all three of these books are going in That's That Me Espresso. But let's go through them one at a time. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I absolutely love this book. I've mentioned it before. It is an adult romance about this woman, August, who moves to New York, and, you know, while she's getting accustomed to everything, she spots this really hot butch lady named Jane on the subway, and she's like, ooh, okay, hi, you're pretty, hi. And the subway lady, Jane, is like, hey, you're kind of cute too. But it's quickly found out that Jane is time displaced from the 1970s. She, one day, like, tripped on something, or, like, fell into something, or something caused her to be in a continuous, unaging, time-stuck ghost, semi-ghost form on the subway. Like, she's not a ghost, she's not dead, but she's not aging, and she can never leave the subway. That's Jane's thing. And when August finds this out, she's like, you know what? We're gonna get you off of this thing. We are going to get you off of this thing. Okay. We are because I don't want to lose you. We've grown really close. We've become friends. I want to be something more. So we are going to figure this out. We are going to get you off. We are going to break your time curse, girly. And that's basically what this book is about. I freaking love it. Now, I mentioned this before, while Red, White, and Royal Blue is my favorite of the Casey McQuiston books, I do have to admit that One Last Stop is a better written book. It is a better crafted book. I'm sorry! It is! I'm sorry! Gays, we have to accept it. We have to give it to the Sapphics. They won, okay? Women's rights, they beat us, okay? We have to admit it. The women won this round, okay? They did. This book is so good. I freaking love it. It's so much fun. It's so cute. It's so romantic. I freaking love this book so damn much. Amazon Studios, I am waiting for y'all to announce the the adaptation of One Last Stop. I am. I'm waiting for y'all to announce the adaptation of One Last Stop. If nothing else, I am praying that we get an August and Jane cameo in the Red, White, and Royal Blue sequel. If nothing else, I want a cameo of August and Jane in the sequel. Okay? I do. I love these women too. I love these women so much. Like, I really, really do. I love them. And yes, I do have the collector's edition of the book, and yes, I have read the bonus chapter from Jane's point of view, and I loved it. I loved it. I freaking loved it. Anyway, let's move on. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Y'all already know what I have to say about this book. Y'all have heard me talk about this book extensively on this channel, quite a few times on this channel. This will not be the first or last time you hear me talk about this book on my channel, because I freaking love this book so damn much. Bury me with this book. When I die, bury me with this book, okay? Craft a coffin out of copies of this book. When I'm buried like this, slot a copy of this book right there across my chest. That is how much I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. Let's get that straight. Ironic, but still. Anyway, I freaking love everything about this book. I freaking love everything about this movie. I will be watching the sequel on repeat extensively, just like I have the first movie, and just like I have read the first book. And yes, I do have the collector's edition of this book too, and yes, I freaking love the bonus chapter. On a deeper level, let's get slightly deeper for a second. The reason that this book holds such a deep place in my heart is because, honestly, this book, maybe as ridiculous as it sounds, because yes, it's a cutesy, fun romance book. It's a cute, fun romance book at the end of the day. You know, it's not some, you know, masterpiece literature that's winning, you know, every single prize in the world. Like, you know, that's just not most of what I read. It's not a Babel. Most of what I read is not a Babel. Okay? But, like, you know, for me personally, I really love Red, White, and Royal Blue, and it will always hold a special place in my heart, because it was really the first time that I truly felt like I was deserving of love. It truly made me feel like, for the first time in my life, that I was deserving of actual real love and romance, and that I could actually find a real, genuine, true love someday. Truly. That's what this book means to me. I especially relate to Henry in a lot of ways. If you know Henry's deal, you know, you can figure out, especially if you're one of my friends and you know more about me, you know, you can figure out the connections between me and Henry. So I really relate to Henry a lot, and you know, I of course love Alex too. I really do. Protect them both. They're both my children, even though they're older than me. But you know, still. But, you know, I really relate to Henry, and it's like, you know, even though it's fiction, if a character that I can relate to can find true love, maybe I can too. That's what this book represents to me. So, I will always love it because of that. It will always hold a very, very special place in my heart because of that, and yeah. And finally, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I saved this book intentionally for last because A, I wanted to go out on a high note, and also B, it is the book that I've most recently read and finished, so you know, y'all have not heard about it from me just yet. You will hear about it more in my summer wrap-up out in September, but yeah. Yeah, I freaking love The Song of Achilles so damn much. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional again just thinking about it. You already know, for that reason, it's going in espresso tier. If you don't know what this book is about, it is a retelling of the Iliad. It is about this guy named Patroclus who falls in love with this demigod named Achilles, and it tells their love story in ancient Greece as, you know, Achilles is becoming this, you know, prophesized hero of war during this, like, massively long war, and it tells the love story of Achilles and Patroclus in, ancient Greece, basically. I freaking love this book. Oh my god, I freaking love this book. Ancient Greek stuff is not my thing. I didn't have to read it in school. I never had to learn about it in school. I never had any interest in learning about it, reading about it. I never really took an interest in watching stuff about ancient Greece. And when I first picked it up, because, I'm not really a big Greek person, I was like, okay, if it's at least a 3-star, I will be happy. If it's at least a 3-star, I will be happy. It very quickly became a 3-star. And then it became a 4-star. And then it became a 5-star. And then the fucking ending happened. And then the ending happened. And when the ending happened, I was on my knees, sobbing, praying to every single possible god in this universe. We were literally 1 minute from the ending of this book, because I read this on audio. Okay, I read this on audio. We were 1 minute from the ending of this book. I was watching the seconds tick by, and they still hadn't found their happily ever after. I was on my knees praying to my phone, basically, saying, God, please, Madeline Miller, please give them their happy ending. And then I'm not joking, the last sentence, the literal last sentence of this book saved it from being a tragedy. The literal last sentence of this book is why it's able to be classified as a romance. And I was like, oh my god, tragic. It's tragically beautiful. It's beautifully tragic. Oh my god, I loved it so much. Even just thinking about it now, and just the tragicness and beautifulness of everything that happened in the last few hours of this book. Oh my god, I'm getting emotional now, just thinking about it. Oh my god, I freaking love this book so much. This book is probably going to be discussed a lot in my summer wrap-up video. It's going to be one of those books where a large majority of the video will be talking about this book. So I'm just going to tell you that now. Be warned. But yes, I freaking love this book. The writing is masterful. The writing is exquisite. The writing is gorgeous. The writing is beautiful. Oh my god. The writing itself. Hand her awards. Hand her a Tony. Hand her a Grammy. Hand her an Emmy. Whatever the equivalent of all that is, whatever the equivalent of becoming an EGOT winner is in the book world, make Madeline Miller that, just for this book alone. Because, oh my god, this woman's writing, her prose, the way that she strings sentences together, girl, oh my god. If you're a part of the writing community, you know people will be like, oh, if you are getting really discouraged about your writing, go read a terrible book, and you will feel instantly better knowing that that person was able to become like a best-selling author for their shit, and so maybe that can happen to you. So go finish your book. Case in point, go read Colleen Hoover. On the flip side, Song of Achilles, Madeline Miller's writing is one of those books where you read her writing, and then you look at your own draft, at least I am, and going like, oh, now I'm sad, because I know that the book that I'm crapping out will never hold a candle to Miss Madeline Miller's writing. That's how freaking good Miss Madeline Miller can string together a sentence. Freaking love this book, especially the ending. The ending fucked me up. The ending really, really fucked me up. I didn't know how this book was going to end. Okay, I didn't know anything about the Iliad. I didn't know how it ended. So the ending of this book, when everything happened and everything started going to shit, and then the really, really ending part happened, I was on my knees, crying and sobbing and everything. Oh my god. Like, I lost like 3 pounds because I cried them away. Basically. That's how good this book was. Truly. But yeah, I'm going to say most of my thoughts for when we talk about this book in my summer wrap-up in September. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. But yeah, that's my extensively long reactions to the final 2 books that we talked about. I'm feeling like, girl, stand up. Go get a boyfriend. You need to be touched. You need to be held. You need to be caressed. Why are romance books making you have this sort of unhinged, lovey-dovey reaction? Stand up. Help me. Help me. Anyway, that is all for this video. That is me ranking all of the books from BookTok that I have read. Some of these books you have heard of before, quite a lot of these books you've heard of before, especially on my channel. Some of these books you have not heard me talk about before, but here you go. Here's all of the BookTok books that I have read so far. Will I read more BookTok books? Yes, I actually will, because I'm looking at this list, and I'm realizing, like, oh, I am not too cool for school. I am not a quirky Gen Z like I thought I was, because I actually really love a lot of BookTok books. Yes, not all of them, but I actually really love a lot of BookTok books. Look at that. So yes, I will be reading more BookTok books in the future. Will I make a part 2 to this video? Maybe. Give it another year or two, and maybe we might come back for part 2 of this video. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment below your thoughts on anything to do with this video, on any of your thoughts regarding these books, on any BookTok videos that you personally read, on any of my thoughts regarding these BookTok books. So yeah, with all of that being said, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!